What's up, guys? Burn the Ship podcast. We are back with another episode. This podcast is all about entrepreneurs and getting their word out there, getting their story of how they started, and their full journey of where they've been and where they want to go. Today we have Matt Payne with Outercircle Foundation. We appreciate you coming here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Really
Good to meet you for the first time.
Yep.
We spoke on the phone, and I think we met at a networking thing for Brian Stover running for Congress, and I had to get out of there, and I had to find your number from somebody because I wanted to talk to you guys. But welcome.
Yep. Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
So I'm gonna kind of give you the floor, let you explain what your foundation is all about, and share a brief history of the organization itself.
Yeah, thank you. Outercircle Foundation. My wife and I knew we wanted to do something. We wanted to give back. We wanted to have a nonprofit. And she really loves Dalmatians. We thought about having a Dalmatian plantation. And, at the end of the day, I was a special operations guy back in the day. And then after I was medically retired, I became a police officer and I retired as a chief of police.
Okay.
And
Where at?
New Jersey.
Okay.
And we decided that, after I lost 3 of my teammates to suicide, and then 2 of my cops to suicide. She lost a bunch of friends to suicide, and we were like, it's just got to stop.
Yeah.
There's just too much.
Right.
So we really focused on the nonprofit, and our core group that we help are active duty military, veterans, and first responders.
Right.
And first responders for us are not just police, fire, and EMS. It's nurses, it's DFACS workers, it's the people that go in and clean crime scenes.
Right.
Pretty much anybody that's out there that's dealing with that first responder.
With trauma stuff, yeah.
Yeah. And our core focus is PTSD awareness, resources, and treatment, suicide prevention programs, and career transition assistance.
Okay.
So we started in 2020, right at the beginning of the pandemic, and it was the time that the Afghan government fell.
Right.
And being a special operations guy back in the day and all of the work that our guys did with the Afghan Special Forces guys, we got involved with moving our Afghan Special Forces allies out of Afghanistan into safety. And we did that for about 2.5 years. And we moved thousands of families around and into safety. And we did that with a bunch of other nonprofits and different things.
Nice.
In about 23, somewhere in there, we came back and we started focusing on our U.S.-based first responders and military guys. And we've just been building programs and partnerships and doing things since then. We partner with Kennesaw State University, Dr. Brian Moore over there. We have a bunch of other nonprofits that we partner with, a bunch of programs that we have. So, it's really, for us, it's not one size fits all.
Right.
It's really unique to that person.
Gotcha.
And then what's appropriate for them.
Right.
Yeah.
What did you, so in 2020, it's kind of an idea and you're putting it in motion. So how did you kind of get your base of I'd say customers, but or people that needed needed what y'all were doing?
It's just word of mouth.
Right.
Fortunately, when we were working the Afghan mission, we were working with a ton of other nonprofits.
Yeah.
And, I really got reconnected with my military guys and, they were learning kind of what we were doing
Right.
and what we had in place. It's, the harder part is the first responder side of the house and getting the word out in that space.
Right.
The military side, I can get all the words out through my military guys, but getting to the different first responder agencies and programs and the retired guys and things like that, that's kind of the rough spot.
Right.
But it's not insurmountable.
Sure.
We do it through Brian at KSU, and I do it through the Fraternal Order of Police, and we do it through speaking events and engagements, and that's really what it is. And then once people start coming in and they start seeing results with programs and word gets out and things like that, then you get that kind of reputation of, hey, they're doing good work.
Right.
Let's go see them and see what they could do.
I'm in this story that I'm going to tell you, so I'm a vet that has had trauma and PTSD, and I come to you. Tell me what you do for me to help.
So the first thing I do is I sit down with you and I find out, have you been diagnosed officially? And if you have, what kind of treatment have you done?
Right.
You know, and it could be cognitive processing therapy, it could be EMDR, it could be prolonged exposure, it could be any number of different things. Then we go into, what are you dealing with?
Right.
You know, do you still have nightmares? Are you not sleeping at night?
Right.
You know, what's going on? Or are you just withdrawn and you don't have a community and you don't have that engagement?
Sure.
You know, what is it that you're trying to do? And then based on that, we could do service animals. We could do equine therapy. We do weekend retreats where we take guys fishing and do different things. We have a reboot trauma recovery program that we do. We have other partnership organizations. So if you're dealing with substance abuse, we have organizations that will work with that.
Sure.
It just depends on where you are,
right,
and what exactly you're trying to, you know, get to, and then we'll work through.
What is it like traditionally? If I'm a soldier coming home and I have that trauma, what is the traditional avenues that might or might not be working? And, you know, there's a lot of, we talked briefly, but I know, you know, there's a lot of plant-based type medicine that's been coming out that's shown like crazy success with PTSD, also addiction and all kinds of stuff that's, you know, mostly illegal in the United States, which unfortunately, you know, but what is the traditional things that they're giving them medical-wise or counseling, and does it work?
Right. So I'll tell you my story.
Yeah, please.
Right? So I walked around with PTSD for about 30 years, and I just didn't know it. And people would come up and they would look at me and, you know, failed relationships, and I'd fly off the handle at different times and, you know, would just withdraw within myself and a lot of different things. They'd look at me and go, dude, what's wrong with you? And I would be like, I don't know. I guess I'm just wired wrong.
Yeah,
you know, I guess, you know. And then it was a couple of years ago. It's weird. I dream, but I don't remember my dreams.
Sure.
And my wife, well, you know, in the morning, she's like, dude, what happened to you last night? And I'm like, what are you talking about? You were yelling and screaming and flailing and all kinds of stuff. Well, I ended up hitting her one night.
Right.
And she was like, all right, I had enough of this. We're going to go figure out what's going on. So I went out, I got diagnosed. And the first thing that happened was I had a therapist. And we were going through cognitive processing therapy.
Right.
And that helps you understand triggers and kind of what's going on and how PTSD affects the body and different things. She put me in contact with a psychiatrist because she was like, maybe there's medicine, maybe there's something that you can do. This was it was during COVID, and I was on a telephone call with this psychiatrist for 20 minutes. You can't get a whole lot of information out of somebody in 20 minutes.
Pretty tough, yeah.
I got put on 3 to 4 different medicines. Basically, I walked around like a zombie.
Right.
They were horrendous medicines. And I took them, and after about the 5th day, I got up in the middle of the night to go to the bathroom, and I could not stand up. I fell. The nightstand went flying. Lamps are going flying. Everything went crazy.
Yep.
And again, my wife, we're
doing that. We're done with that.
Yeah,
now.
we're done with this.
Sounds like a smart lady.
Yep. Off that goes. So started doing research and came across Dr. James Lynch. He's up in Annapolis, Maryland. And Doc Lynch was he was one of the special operations docs back in the day. And Doc does a thing called the stellate ganglion block.
Right.
And you have 2 bundles of nerves in your neck on each side called the ganglion bundles of nerves. And what that does is it connects your sympathetic and your autonomous nervous system, which creates your fight or flight system.
Okay.
So like for me, when I wasn't sleeping and I called them my black cloud days, I would just recluse into myself. I wouldn't want to talk to anybody. I would fly off the handle. And I would never, like I wouldn't fly off the handle at you, but it would be like I would put sodas in the refrigerator, but one would fall over and I'd pick it back up and it would fall over again. And then all of a sudden that would go flying across the driveway. And it would just, you know, like that in a heartbeat.
Right.
But it was never at people. It was always at something that just triggered.
Yeah.
And so got a hold of him, and he ran me through a battery of tests. He goes, yeah, dude, you need this. So I went up, and what he does is you lay down, and he ultrasounds your neck, and he does all the anatomy, and he finds out where the nerves are, and he inserts a really, really small, thin needle, and it's just an anesthetic, just like you're getting a tooth filled when you're numbing the tooth. And it resets your fight or flight and just does a total reboot of the system.
What does he put in there?
It's just a anesthetic.
That's it?
That's it.
Okay.
It just numbs everything and kind of reboots. So the needle's in my neck, and he looks at me and goes, how do you feel? And you can talk and everything. Like, I'm watching all of this go on. I said, Doc, it is the weirdest thing ever. I said,
I'm sure he's heard that before.
I am a 10-year-old boy. It is a beautiful summer day. There's not a cloud in the sky. I have overalls on, no shirt. My pants are rolled up to my mid-shins. I'm sitting on a dock. I'm looking at a beautiful crystal clear lake, and I have a fishing pole next to me. I've never done that. I don't fish, like none of that.
That's what you had in your brain.
So I had a long conversation with him afterwards, and he goes, your mind goes to your happy place.
Right.
If you listen to Joe Rogan, Joe did an interview with Dakota Meyer, who was a Marine that won the Medal of Honor.
Right.
And his happy place was he was in like a 60s or 70 pickup truck, windows rolled down, backcountry road, listening to country music, sun on the arm, just driving down the road.
Right.
That was his happy place. That night I slept for 14 hours straight.
God, that's great.
My wife thought I died. And so...
It's peaceful.
Yeah. This doesn't cure PTSD. It alleviates the symptoms so you could focus on other treatment options.
Getting better.
Like cognitive processing, prolonged exposure, EMDR, right? The true gold standards for the treatment aspect of things.
So let's go back a little bit there.
Yep.
And so when your wife was like, hey, we're done with that the first time, and like, we're going to get some help, or we're going to talk to some people, who did you go to the VA because you were in the military? Did you go to somebody private? Because I'm trying to think, like, if I'm in the mind of somebody that's had trauma, whether it be first responders, firemen, nurses, teachers, even could be that they could people that were in mass shootings or survivalists, right?
Yep.
Where would they go to do this? Would they go to the VA, and then is it much help? And then what's the cost to all this? That would always go through my mind and of that. So how did you do it? And then how do you think that other people should do it? Should they just skip the government thing altogether?
So I was a little different. I got out of the military in 95, right? A long time ago. And when I got out, I was medically retired. We got home from Haiti in December of 94. I had 4 knee surgeries at the time. My doc at the Joint Special Operations Command in January said, look, dude, I give you 5 years before you do so much damage you can't walk again. Let me put your records in front of the review board and let me see what happens. And I was like, all right, doc, well, if that's what you think. And I'm thinking in my head, it's the military. This is going to take like a year or whatever.
Right.
March, I was standing outside the gate with my bags, not knowing what I was going to do. So I moved back to New Jersey. That's where my mom and dad were living. And I didn't have health insurance. I started waiting tables because I had no idea what to do.
Of course.
And I got sick one day, and I went to the VA. It took me 8 to 10 hours, and I can't remember, but I just waited and waited and waited just to be seen to get just an antibiotic for a chest cold or whatever it was. And I said, from that point on, I'm just not doing this anymore. And, shame on me because I never gave him a second chance and that. So I had that baggage coming into all of this.
Right.
So when I got diagnosed, I found a outside therapist that I worked with. She was previously in the Army. She was a therapist. She had dealt with PTSD as well and had, a lot of good information and resources and things like that. So out of that, it's just a question of a lot of the people that I talk to have gone down the VA route. The VA will then say, okay, here's all this medicine. We're just going to put medicine to you, like me.
Right.
And, for me, it's a Band-Aid over root cause. Right. It's just going to cover up the symptoms because I had no symptoms, but I wasn't me.
It also could create other problems too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Lots of them.
Yeah.
Medically.
So, then I found Doc Lynch and I paid for it out of my own pocket.
Right.
And I did everything. And I have to say, I have gone back to the VA and they have been fantastic.
Right.
I was really deathly ill on a Friday about a year and a half ago and went down to a local, I call it Doc in the Box, like Wellstar.
Sure.
Emergency care.
Yeah.
They did a chest x-ray. They sent me to the hospital and I had to have all kinds of tests done and everything. VA called me Monday morning and said, hey, we just got word you were in the hospital over the weekend. Is there anything we could do? How can we help you? What resources do you? Yeah. And I was like, holy cow, that's awesome.
Yeah.
And, I think there's a lot of negativity out there with the VA. And there is some issues. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of issues that the VA can do better, but they're still doing some good stuff.
Sure.
And they're doing the best they can and they're trying. But it's, just last week, or maybe it was this week, it came out that now they're going to start doing VA ratings based upon how the medicine is healing you, not how you're doing outside of that. And a lot of veterans organizations and veterans are up in arms about that. And
I can see why.
yeah. So there's a lot of things
Right.
at stake there. And it's a question of, do you have health insurance or do you not?
Yep.
If you do, then that opens up a whole bunch of different things. If you don't, then we have to get you scholarship into different things to try to get you treatment for whatever it is
Right.
that we're trying to do.
Yeah.
So it's really unique and it's really based on, I have guys that say, I won't go to the VA because I went there, I didn't like it, I want to find something different.
Sure.
And then we'll help them find something different.
Yeah.
If they need help with the VA, then we'll get them help with the VA.
Right. So, tell me a little bit. We were talking a little bit earlier, and you just taken a trip. Tell us more a lot, because there's a lot of podcasts out there now about the ibogaine and then the psilocybin mushrooms and things like that are really doing astonishing work with the PTSD.
Yeah. So we partnered with a organization right here in Georgia called Sacred Ground Retreats. And the reason we did that is when you're a non-special operations soldier or airman or person, military person, there's not a whole lot of opportunity for plant-based medicine from that regard, if you want to explore it. So we partnered with them because they offer that to veterans.
Sure.
But a lot of veterans, in this instance, it's really expensive to go through that program. So they were like, look, if somebody comes to us and they're a veteran, they can't afford it, would you guys step in and help us scholarship that person? We were like, absolutely. That's what we do.
Right.
That's one of the things that we do. We send guys to and women up to Doc Lynch all the time for the ganglion block, and we scholarship that, and we do different things in that space. So my wife has a lot of trauma from her past, and we both went down to Jamaica, and we did a psilocybin journey. And when I say life-changing, it was life-changing.
Sure.
And I've done it in the past and had some good results. And, I've had a lot of conversations with people. You guys just want to go out and get high and just not have anything to do with life.
Right.
And you just want to, and man, when you're on one of these journeys and the medicine is not disassociative, it's introspective. Right? So you're opening up doors that, trust me, those are the last doors I ever want to open up.
Yeah, that's right.
At the end of the day.
That's right.
I mean, it's stuff from childhood. It's stuff from things going way back that, you potentially never dealt with.
Yep.
And, I tell everybody, the medicine is really, really smart. It knows where to go and what to do. And I can remember a journey that it wanted me to go here, and I was like, no, I'm not going there. And it was like, oh, yeah we're going here.
Yeah.
And it just won't let you.
Sure.
That's where you go.
Well, think purpose, right? So if your purpose is to go get high and vacation, that's one thing.
Yeah.
And then if your purpose is to heal, that's another thing. And your mind and the medicine knows which one you want to do too, probably.
Yep.
So there's a lot of things that they tell you to do. It's preparation to do these journeys, right? Your diet, all kinds of stuff. The list is long to, hey, this is what you need to do to have this be successful, or what you wanted to do. Instead of drinking a bottle of liquor the day before and then eating some mushrooms the next day, you're not going to get the same results.
This we did integration beforehand, went down, no technology, you were completely removed, a lot of breath work, a lot of grounding, there was some meditation, journaling, but it was really for you to spend time on you, which people don't really do anymore, and this was an opportunity to really, what do I need and what's going to benefit me out of this? And it was, man, my wife and I were like, people apart. There were some people in between us, but we were so connected in this journey that, like, it's hard for me to wrap my head around how everything transpired. And we are very faith forward personally, and our nonprofit is faith forward, right? So we spend a lot of time in that. And it's back to identity, and it's back to who are you as a person. Right. And it was just amazing how it transpired. But now we have integration for an entire year after we came back. So it's not just like, hey, you went and got high on psilocybin and see you later.
You're done,
Now the real work happens.
Of course.
How are you going to bring this back and put it into life, and incorporate that along the way.
Sure. Yeah, that's really cool. Well, so let's get to the money part, because nobody really wants to talk about money, but you need money to do things. How are y'all getting money to let these people do these things and get better?
So it's all by donations. We have people that donate. We have it's called the Circle of Heroes. And it can be, I believe it's $25 a month will get you career transition all the way up to $250 a month, and that will send somebody for stellate ganglion block.
Cool.
And then we hold different events, like we have a golf outing coming up on April 30th, and we have sponsorship opportunities, and we have golfers and different things. And everything that we do, we don't charge. Like, we'll never. You as a veteran, we don't charge you for anything.
Right.
When you come in. And I should preface that. If you do a Reboot trauma recovery program, due to Reboot telling us, when you just bring them in and give them the book, they may or may not come. It's $25 for them to buy a book.
Right.
So with that, but we do dinner every night. We do a lot of different things, right? So some of the things, there's skin in the game there, because when they pay that $25, then they want to be there and do those different things.
I understand that.
But when you go to a retreat, or we scholarship or something like that, there's nothing out of your pocket. We pay the half, and then you pay the other half, whatever it is with that other organization or whatever it is that you're doing. But, it's a lot of talking to organizations. It's finding donors. It is sponsorship to our programs and the events that we put on. We did a gala last year that was a black tie gala in May. Historically, we've done a golf outing at Bears Best in Swanee. This year, we're doing one was in the fall. This year, we're doing one in Dogwood Golf Club in Austell in April for everybody on this side of town.
Right.
Because everybody here was like, dude, I'm not driving an hour and a half to Bears Best, even though it's a great course, but I'm not doing that. Do one over here.
Gotcha.
So we do different events. We'll bring, we're doing another Fishing for Freedom. So we're going to bring 12 veterans fishing at the end of May. We'll do some therapy Friday night Every veteran will have their own boat, their own professional fishermen on Saturday. They can fish for 5 minutes or 8 hours,
Right.
whatever they want to do. Then we'll do another therapy session on Saturday night, and we'll leave after breakfast on Sunday.
And this is local?
Yeah, this is up at Notley Lake in Blairsville.
Okay. Cool.
And so nothing for those guys to come in and do this. Everything's donated, and we may have a scholarship or a sponsorship or two with that. But that's the way it is. If we don't have money, we don't have programs, and that's the big driver with things. And I can tell you, dude, I suck at raising money.
Yeah,
it is. I feel like a used car salesman, and I love taking care of the vets and doing that kind of stuff.
Yep.
I have a hard time asking for money.
I understand that. It's just you got to have it though.
Yeah.
If you want to do your, complete your goal, it's just something you got to have, and that's why I brought it up. So really, what I want you to do now is like tell us your your website, phone number, anybody that can get a hold of you. How do we engage with you?
So website is outercirclefoundation.org. We have everything there. There's an events page. There's resources. There's programs. There's everything that you can find there. We're on Instagram. It's Outercircle 501c. Facebook, I believe, is the same. It's Outercircle Foundation on LinkedIn. And it's Outercircle 501c on X. My telephone number is on the website, and it's everywhere, 910-309-5335. If you know somebody, you need something, reach out to me. I'm always available. I'll help in any way I can. If I can't do it or it's not something we do, we have a partner. And we'll have a partner that we can put you in contact with to get you whatever it is. If it's something I've never dealt with before, I will find somebody, and that's what we do.
Cool.
We'll connect you with somebody.
We appreciate it, man. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Y'all have a good day. Burn the ship.